Edgar Berlanga, the Puerto Rican superstar boxer, knockout artist, is fighting the Mexican Pride superstar boxer, one of the greats in Mexican boxing, Saul Canelo Alvarez, on September 14th. I don't know if you guys are surprised, but I sure was that a lot of Puerto Ricans are not backing their boxer. They're not backing Edgar Berlanga. Why is this? Well, let me tell you guys something. As a Puerto Rican myself, I mean, I've been a huge boxing fan ever since I was a kid. I remember the first fight of boxing that I saw that really drew me in. And this was Felix Tito Trinidad against Fernando Vargas. I don't know if you guys remember, but that was a back and forth, action packed fight, multiple knockdowns, and these guys were really two warriors at the top of their game, and it was just an exciting fight. I mean, I could have, I don't know if I could have picked a better fight to see as a new fan. That fight really drew me in. And one thing you can say about Edgar Berlanga is that he does bring the fight. He started his career with 16 knockouts in a row. But at some point, he stopped knocking people out. It was on his 17th fight. He went 4 fights without knocking people out. That's not to say that that's a failure. He still won, but if you're a knockout artist, you're calling yourself a monster. And to his credit, he didn't fight anybody with a losing record in those fights. He fought 3 people on their debut, but every other fighter didn't have losing records. But that doesn't mean they weren't tomato cans. To a certain extent, they were picked for him. They were guys that were simply not that hard to hit. And the moment they stepped up the competition for Edgar Berlanga, he stopped knocking people out. He can say this and that, but he really stopped knocking people out. He couldn't get a 38-year-old Angulo out of there. Angulo gave him some serious problems. And granted, he did state this in the press conference, and by he, I'm talking about Edgar Berlanga. He did state this in a post-press conference interview for the Canelo fight, and he said that Angulo was a dirty fighter. Like he was elbowing, he was doing all these sort of sneaky things. But you know what, man? That comes with the territory. So Edgar Berlanga, very much like his New York colleague Mike Tyson, got frustrated because Mike Tyson also got frustrated against Holyfield, who was also headbutting and doing these sort of sneaky things, which, by the way, are within the rules, sort of. It's sort of a gray area. He got frustrated and, just like Mike Tyson, decided to bite Angulo. It just didn't make headlines like the Mike Tyson bite did against Holyfield. It wasn't that big. It wasn't that big of a fight. It wasn't that big of a deal. And to be honest, it's kind of a way of, it's a cop-out. He already knew he was not looking good. So how do I maintain this monster reputation? Well, let me do something nasty. Let me bite him. So in my opinion, it was weak. But the thing is, us Puerto Ricans, we're very proud of our fighters. We're very proud of the things they have accomplished. But if you haven't gotten there and you're pretending to be one of the better Puerto Rican fighters and you're already acting flashy, which, by the way, I don't mind. Like, people need to understand he is selling himself. He's doing mainly these things to promote himself, to promote the fights. He's promoting himself. He's promoting a lifestyle. He's kind of being cool. He's kind of being the guy that kids want to be like. I don't know if I want my kid to be like him, but I sure as hell, if I was a kid and I looked at him, if I was a 12-year-old and I looked at Edgar Berlanga knocking people out and he has a hot girlfriend and he has all the jewelry, the cars, the money, I sure as hell would like to be like him if I was a 12, 15-year-old. But us boxing fans that have been following boxing for a while, we can see flaws in his game. He's acting all high and mighty, like he's the best. But to be honest with you, I'm not sure he's one of the better fighters in his division. I'm not sure. I don't. I know he is not the best Puerto Rican boxer active today. There's many people I would put in front of him. There's hell. Let's start with Amanda Serrano. That's the team captain. That's the fighter holding the flag for Puerto Rico right now. People can say whatever they want to say, but it's her. Then you got Bomba Gonzalez. Then you got Suriel Matias. Hell, you even have Danny Garcia. Okay, there's many fighters right now. Sander Sayas is great prospect, bigger prospect than Edgar Berlanga. Really promising fighter, but he's not as wild. He's not as outspoken. He's not as flashy. He's more of a sportsman. He's more down to earth. And to be fair, that kind of style of fighter, that kind of style of promotion doesn't really catch fire as quickly as a flashy Edgar Berlanga coming in with the knockouts, coming in with the hot girlfriend, the jewelry, the cars, all these sort of things. They don't really catch fire. Plus, Edgar Berlanga, to his credit, he's polarizing. And if I was him, I wouldn't necessarily be looking to win over the Puerto Rican fans. I just would try to win this fight. A lot of people are putting him like he's getting sentenced to death, like the death penalty. Like we're about to sacrifice a fighter. Let me tell you something, guys. Edgar Berlanga is not the best boxer. He's not. Okay, and there's a lot of flaws in his game. Like for me, for instance, I do see him chasing a lot the fighters in the ring, and I do believe that's part of the reason why he didn't knock people out. He was chasing them around. He wasn't cutting off the ring. And if you put a good fighter with good movement, he's gonna have trouble. It's not even he's still gonna win the fight because he's gonna be pushing forward. He's gonna be landing the harder shots. He's young. He's athletic. He's powerful. But he lacks certain abilities. He lacks certain techniques. He doesn't really cut off the ring that much. The thing with Canelo is that he's not gonna have to cut off the ring. Canelo's, by his stature, Edgar Berlanga's way taller. He has longer reach, longer arms. Canelo's gonna have to come forward. Canelo's, as he always does. So he's not gonna be hard to find in that sense, but Canelo does have great head movement and all that. However, Canelo is on the tail end of his career, and a lot of you guys can say that way. Why is he in his early 30s? Yeah, he is in his early 30s, but he's been fighting professionally since he was 16, and he's had 61 victories and let me see, 2 losses and 2 draws. Okay, so he has 65 fights total. That's a lot, guys. That being said, Canelo is strong. He has Mexicans are blessed with this granite chin, so Canelo's gonna be hard to knock out. I don't think that should be the strategy for Berlanga, to knock out Canelo. But there's other ways to go about it. However, that's not what we're talking about today. So how does Edgar Berlanga win over the hardcore or the Puerto Rican fans? Most of them are gonna be behind them. Most of them don't know the difference between a Canelo and an Edgar Berlanga. Most of them are going to be watching boxing for the first time or be drunk out of their minds. And by them, I'm including myself. I'm Puerto Rican myself, so I'm not being prejudiced in any way. And I'm not even saying this is particular of Puerto Ricans. Most boxing fans, most people that are watching boxing are just casually just watching. They're hanging out with their friends, they're drinking and having a good time. And when knockouts come, that's exciting. You don't need to understand the rules. Like if you're watching football, for example, I'm talking about American football, I'm not talking about soccer. A lot of people have a hard time getting into it because they don't understand the rules. But everybody understands a punch to the face. You don't need to be an expert. So when you see Edgar Berlanga fight, he's exciting. So he does have a chance to win fans over. How do you win the Puerto Rican fans over? You gotta win, dude. You gotta get in there and you gotta beat Canelo. And the thing is, if you're not gonna beat Canelo at the tail end of his career, when you're 28 years old, you're bigger, stronger, you hit hard, you know, you're 6'1". Canelo's a very, very generous 5'8". And yes, I know Canelo has fought taller fighters before, like the Callum Smiths, the Rocky Fieldings. I know. But he really is not the same Canelo anymore. He went the distance against Mujia, which I believe a few years ago would not have seen the 12th round. So that being said, if Edgar Berlanga, and this might be a little harsh to say as a Puerto Rican, if Edgar Berlanga cannot beat Canelo at this point in his career, where Edgar Berlanga is 28 and Canelo is he's in the tail end of his career. He can say he's not gonna retire, but he's already ducking Benavides. Okay, I think he does recognize his own limitations. If Edgar Berlanga cannot beat Canelo on September 14th, guys, hate to say it, he never deserved it. Anyways, that's all I have for today, you guys. Please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. See you next time.